Good morning, rollers. Welcome to, I actually don't know what episode this is going to be, but welcome to this new episode. It's going to be a little different this time because it's just me, James, one half of the Roots of Life hosts. Taylor is away at the moment. He is doing a Vipassana retreat that I believe we've spoken to you about before. But today I am here with my good friend Imtiaz Taj.
Hello.
Welcome, Im. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, that's fun.
Yeah, it's been a long time. I haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, almost a year.
Yeah, it's been, I think, 8 months since I moved to Kamloops.
Right.
And a couple months before that, I had moved to Victoria.
Right.
So, yeah, pretty close to a year.
Yeah.
10 months at least.
Yeah.
So, Im, I met you at VIU, where we both went to school together, both doing psychology.
Right.
So how's that going for you right now?
That's going great. Yeah. I'm just trying to wrap up. I'm going to be graduating in June.
Congratulations.
Thanks. Yeah. So I'm just trying to wrap up all the things that needs to be done.
Yeah. Did you end up going to, you were going to like Finland, I think?
No, we ended up not going because I got into the board of governors for the VIU.
Oh, congratulations.
Right. Thanks. Yeah. So I ran for 1 year. I did 1 year.
Yeah.
I've just finished my term, but I'm elected for the second term.
Nice.
So I'm going to be doing it again next year.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Wait, so are you going to be back at VIU again next year?
Yeah, I'm going to come back and I'm going to do my research project and I'm going to do my addiction certificate.
Oh, wow. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So how many degrees and certificates would that be?
Oh, 6.
6.
Yeah.
That's 6, people. You're slacking if you don't got 6.
Well, I spent almost 20 years in higher education too. So
yeah, that's a long time.
Yeah.
So is that your life mission, is to educate yourself?
That's it. You know, I want to keep on working until keep on going to school until I'm 65, and then I want to retire.
I like it. You never have to get out there and do the real work, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, I will do research.
I mean, real work is school's real work. It's hard.
Yeah.
So I know that your story, I don't think I know all of it, but I know your story is a pretty interesting one.
Well, yeah. I mean, I've gone through some adversity in my life, and it's an interesting story.
Yeah. That's what, I kind of wanted to just share it with the people here. So at the moment you're getting your 5th degree.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you'll have, what are your degrees in?
So acting and directing, journalism, photography, elementary education, and comparative religions, and economics.
That sounds like a lot more than 5.
Yeah, but 2 of them are double degrees.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, double majors.
You just got all these crazy degrees, all the schooling.
Yeah, exactly.
Just a wealth of knowledge.
Yeah, well, you know what? I think you need to keep on growing.
Yeah.
And once you start combining different area, different disciplines, you really learn a lot more than when you're stuck in one major and one focus.
Fair enough. So how did you end up getting to Canada?
It's a long story.
Would you want to go back to the start where you grew up?
Yeah, let's start there.
Okay, so let everybody know where it was that you grew up.
Okay, so I was born in Karachi, Pakistan.
Okay.
I was born to, both of my parents were physicians. So very early in my life, they decided that they want me to learn English so I can go to medical school. So they sent me to one of the only co-ed school in Pakistan.
Yeah.
And among the only schools that taught everything in English. So I went to St. Thomas English School. It was taught by nuns. And being a Muslim, I was still a minority because mostly it was all the kids from minority groups, Christian, Hindus, Sikhs. So even though I grew up in Pakistan as a majority Muslim, all my friends were non-Muslims. So I grew up with a very confused life.
Yeah.
Because, at school I will practice Christianity, Catholicism. My friend's best father was either in a temple or in a Protestant school. And then when I go home, I had to study Islam.
Yeah.
Right? So from the beginning, I grew up as a multicultural person. So I really never fit in.
You've always had these different influences from different religions telling you how to kind of live your life.
Right. And you kept on mixing them up, of course, because you were a kid. So, then let's move on to how I got to America first.
Okay.
So in 1984, there was a referendum happening in Pakistan. And I was, that was the year I was in the first year of medical school. I was 18 years old. I was sent to observe the election from one of the parties. It was actually not an election, it was a referendum. President Ziaul of Pakistan, who was a dictator until that point, wanted to change and become the president.
Oh.
So referendum was, can he become the president? Would you accept him as a president? Or will he stay in power as a dictator? So I was watching. That year the government has passed this law that you can come in with any form of ID as long as it has a picture on it. Yeah. And your name is on the list. So I was watching, everything was going fine, and then I kept on seeing this one guy keep coming back with different IDs. I know the guy. He was a Russian shop owner in Pakistan. Everything is on Russians in Pakistan.
Oh, really?
So like you get your Russian for flour, of sugar, no grocery store.
I guess Russia's pretty close, hey, so they all kind of just immigrated down.
Right. Yeah. So I was watching, and then after I saw him come like 15, 16 times, I just said, that's enough, It's cheating.
Yeah.
Basically, he's coming in with different people's Russian cards that he can just print in his own shop, slap his picture, and he's ready to go.
So he was just voting multiple times?
17 times he voted.
17 times.
Yeah. So I said he cannot vote anymore. The government side said, no, he has a picture ID. The name is on the list, so he can vote. We started arguing. People heard outside, so they started rioting.
Oh.
And 3 buses were burned. There was a police station burned. About, I think, 16 people died.
Oh my God.
A lot of. So I got blamed for everything.
Just because of the argument, you got blamed for everybody, right?
Yeah, that I incited riots.
Oh, wow.
So I was thrown in prison for 3 months.
3 months in prison.
The judge told me that I have to serve 20 years in prison. My father was the physician for the governor of Sindh. Okay. He made an arrangement with him to get me out of the country.
Oh, wow.
So then I applied and I got accepted at Bloomsburg University in Eastern Pennsylvania. So I arrived there, and that was my first institute I got 2 degrees out of.
Oh, wow.
I played football for 5 years there too.
Nice.
Yeah.
What position did you play?
I played fullback and free safety.
Oh, wow. Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah, and I was on the special teams too. So I was always on the field, and I'm still paying for it.
Just an All-American that time of your life?
That's right, yeah. It was real fun, man, a lot of fun. And I learned a lot. And people think foreign, I went in and I became an American.
Yeah.
Like it took me 6 months and I was an American.
Yeah, you just had all of their...
Yeah. And that's all the skill I learned from going to a multicultural school in Pakistan.
Yeah, you kind of knew how to integrate into these kind of groups already.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So getting back to Pakistan, though, does that mean if you did go back to Pakistan, you'd be put in jail?
Yeah, so I'm still blacklisted. My sentence is suspended until I get back.
Oh, wow.
So the day I land there, I will be arrested and put in prison for 20 years. So that's why I'm not allowed to go back to Pakistan.
That makes sense. I wouldn't go back either.
Yeah. So then Bloomsburg, I got my 2 degrees. I graduated. I did a lot of acting from 1987 to 1998. I did over 200 shows, acting, directing, and stage managing. Wow. Yeah. And I also work at Geneva College in Beaver Falls, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
And I taught technical theater there for 6 years.
That's great. You taught there?
Yeah, I taught, yeah.
Wow.
From my experience.
That's cool.
So I was a non-faculty position. They considered me a staff position.
Yeah.
And it was all hands-on learning.
Nice. So it was just a bunch of acting and fun stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I like
so
it.
I will go to Pittsburgh and other places and act, and then go back and do my work.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
So now you're in America, having the time of your life, playing football, teaching acting classes. How did you end up
in Canada?
In Canada.
All right. So let's move ahead to 9/11, 2001.
Okay,
right?
yeah.
I was living in Rochester at that point.
Okay.
I was working at a car dealership
Yeah.
as a dealer trade manager. And one day, the immigration come and arrested me. And this is March of 2002. And they came and they said, well, you have broken the law, so we have to take you in for prison. I'm like, well, what did I do? They said, back in 96, you worked without work permit. I'm like, hold on. In 96, I had applied for the work permit. I was teaching and I was acting. And I was told, I called and I said, well, my work permit is about to expire and I have already applied 3 months in advance. So what should I do? They said, keep on working. It's in the mail. But after 9/11, the Bush government passed the Patriot Act.
Yeah.
So they could use any technicality to pick anybody up. And they only picked me up because I had a Muslim name. That was the only
That's
reason.
it? Just Imtiaz Taj?
Yeah, Imtiaz Ali Taj.
Oh, yeah.
Middle name is Ali.
Ali, yeah.
So it's pretty obvious to most people that I'm Muslim.
Yeah.
Even though I gave up Islam back in 1987, I went through Catholicism,
Yeah.
I went through Protestantship, and now I'm a Buddhist.
You're Buddhist?
Yeah. So, I've gone through that whole... So, when they picked me up, I was thrown in prison for 15 months. They could not send me back to Pakistan.
That's a long time to be in prison.
Yeah, it's because I went in front of the judge. The judge says, sorry, we want all of your kind out of this country.
Did he
his
actually
exact
say
word.
that to you?
Exact words.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm like,
That's
okay,
terrible.
what did I do? Like, why do you hate me so much? Well, because you are brown, you are Pakistani, you are Muslim, we don't want you here. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I
Yeah.
understand that part because, it's your country, you're trying to protect it.
Yeah.
But my friends are willing to put $1 million to get me out of prison and you're still not letting me out.
Yeah.
And all my friends are, I made through 2 universities.
Yeah.
So, they're pretty well-established people,
And they're willing to get you out, but they
Yeah.
won't let you out.
So it was decided in 4 months, but then the next 11 months, they were just trying to figure out what to do with me.
Oh, just where to put you, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because they cannot just drop me at another country without any claim,
Yeah.
and they cannot send me back to Pakistan because I was a conventional refugee in America,
Yeah.
right? So they decided to just drop me off at Peace Bridge in Canada,
They just,
which is in Niagara Falls, Canada.
yeah.
So one pair of clothes, no money, my file in my hand. They said, here you go, there's your file, walk that way, walk to Canada. I'm like, okay, why? They said, well, you're not welcome here, Canada will accept you, go ahead.
So they didn't let you even get any of your old things? Like
No,
none of
nothing.
your clothes,
Yeah.
nothing?
Nothing.
Wow.
I had not even a penny in my name.
That's crazy. And they
Yeah.
just sent you to Canada.
Yeah. So I arrived and I walked in the immigration office. They said, well, what are you doing here? Where's your passport? I said, I don't have a passport. This is my file from American Immigration. Said, oh. And they looked through the file. And at that point, I'm a diabetic. I'm type 1 diabetic.
Yeah.
My sugar was running really low. So the immigration people were so nice in Canada, man. They put me in a room. The guy ran across the street, bought me burger and fries so my sugar can go
Oh,
up.
what a nice guy. That's awesome.
Yeah, he was like, oh, I'll just pay for it. No problem, man.
No big deal.
Yeah. So, and then they said, well, this is the SARS time. So they have to put me in prison, basically, until the judge can decide what to do with me.
Oh, wow.
And so I went into a prison, a Canadian prison in St. Catharines, Ontario, and spent about 3 weeks there. Went in front of the judge, and I had gotten a lawyer from a pro bono lawyer from Canada,
Yeah.
immigration lawyer. With him, I went in front of the judge, and judge just looked at the file, and he says, Mr. Taj, I cannot believe what you have gone through. People like you are not welcome in America, but we welcome you. Welcome to Canada. And he gave me a conventional refugee status and let me out.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I was crying,
Yeah. Just complete elation at this point.
Yeah, because, I've gone through such a hard time. And then having this people just with open arms in Canada.
Yeah, everybody just accepted you. Yeah, from the very beginning, you've always felt like an outsider in
Right.
these different schools, and then having to leave your home country, and then being literally kicked out of the States
Right.
to come to Canada and just be accepted. It must have felt amazing.
Oh, it was amazing. Yeah. Like, yeah. Especially like in America, most of the people accepted me, my friends. Like,
Yeah.
I didn't go through any, like, when I arrived at Bloomsburg, they used to send me out to do presentations in high schools, you know?
Yeah.
That was part of my scholarship as an international student to promote the university. So my favorite thing to do was walk into the redneck biker bars. And we are talking back in like 85, 86, and it's like all coal mining towns, you know, it's all prominently white,
Yeah.
you know, and really racist. And I would walk into a bar and people wanted to kill me, you know. But, you know, I went, introduced myself, hung out, had a beer with them, start talking. Before I was done, like by the end of the night, everybody was buying me shots and inviting me to go fishing with them. And so, you know, like people say when they look at America, they think it's racist people.
Yeah.
There are not that many racist people. It's just they never have been, you know, introduced to other cultures.
Yeah, they just haven't met other people that
Yeah,
they can...
they live in small towns, a lot of them, and they have never really left the town. They work in the town. So, you know, racism is in America is more a government problem than it is of people problem.
That makes sense, actually.
Yeah,
I could see that.
yeah. So the only time I, experienced after 9/11, a couple of people, when I was selling cars, a couple of people walked in, and that's like 9/12, 9/13, like a couple of days after.
Yeah.
And they would say, can we buy a car from someone else beside him? And the manager will tell them to get out of the showroom. Like, well, we cannot have that. He's one of our base salesmen.
Yeah.
So, you know, sorry, you have to just leave.
Sorry, you can go.
Yeah. We don't want to sell
We
a
don't
car
want
to you.
racist people here.
Yeah.
That's good. I like
Yeah.
that there's people in the world that will stand up for others.
Exactly. Yeah. And yeah, world is beautiful. There's a lot of people like
Yeah.
that. Yeah. So then I arrived in Toronto, and I spent about 3 months as a homeless on the streets of Toronto. Well, because I had no money.
Yeah, no money, nowhere to
I had
go.
one pair of clothes.
Yeah.
And some of the most amazing things were happening to me too at that time. I was learning a lot about myself,
Yeah.
you know. And I was walking around with a shoe with a hole in it.
Oh, no.
And right. So one day I'm just sitting in a bench. It's a park right by Queen Street. There was a park right by the church. I was sitting on this bench. I was minding my own business, and this guy came and sat next to me, and he says, "How are you doing today?" I said, "I'm good. I'm good." He was like, "I see there's a hole in your shoes. Why don't you get new shoes?" I said, "I don't have money. I'm trying to find a job. I don't have the work permit yet, so I cannot work. And the government is giving me like $50 every week."
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So all I can do is $50 eat McDonald's.
Yeah.
You know? It's like, here you go. And he gives me a base gift card for $100. So go buy yourself some shoes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's super nice.
Yeah. So then I went, and that's what I'm saying. Like, there were so many strangers. They were
just very generous people.
And most of the time I would go and, grab books from other places. Like, people leave books at the mall and stuff.
Yeah.
So my favorite thing was to just sit on a park bench and read.
Nice.
And that's what I was doing.
I mean, at least you got something going on, right? Keeps you
Exactly.
happy, keeps you learning, and
So then I worked my way in the summer. Then I still didn't have the work permit. They finally approved me to get welfare.
Mm-hmm.
So after 3 months, then I applied to be I started volunteering, and I volunteered for Factory Theater and a couple of other theater, and made some friends. And then those friends said, one of the friends, Joel Benson, that I met through Toronto Film Festival, he said one day, I'm going to Quebec to do a show for 4 months. Why don't you stay in my room?
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So then, so I moved in. I stayed in his room. I paid his rent because by that time I was making some money.
working,
Some money was coming from the government. So then, and then through that, then my other roommate, Joel's roommate, David, says, there's a opening at my restaurant. I know, you just got the work permit. why don't you go and apply? I was applying everywhere, but
Yeah.
nobody was hiring me because I didn't have any references in Canada.
Yeah.
I didn't have any money. I didn't have any clothes, you know.
Yeah.
So so I said, okay. So I went and I talked to the manager there, and I talked to Michael Kavanagh, and another amazing guy. He hired me on the spot. He said, "Yeah, you are perfect. So we are going to do busing, but I want you to be want to go out on the street and bring some people in."
Oh,
Like,
that's
no problem, Michael. Yeah. So I started busing,
cool. Yeah.
and so I started making some money finally.
Yeah.
And within 6 months, I was the maitre d', and they gave me a clothing allowance, so I was wearing suits and ties.
Oh,
And
wow.
so I would go outside, but a lot of time I was just working in the restaurant, and my job was to just talk to people.
Talk to people, make them happy.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So, and again, those are the people like Joel and Michael that put me back on my feet because of their kindness.
Yeah.
And David, So, I worked there 5 years, applied for my residency. So I became a legal alien at 5 years, and that's the time they had imposed a limitation on my movement
Okay.
until my case was settled.
Yeah.
So once I became a resident, then that went away. So I could move anywhere I want. So one day I was talking to Joel, and I'm like, Joel said, "What do you want to do with your life? You don't want to work in restaurant business your entire life." I said, "No, I want to do something exciting. I want to do something fun. I want to start a theater company." So where do you want to live? I said, "West Coast."
West Coast, best coast.
Yeah, exactly. So he was like, "You know what? My father just moved there. He's living in Powell River, and it's beautiful. They can use a theater company. Why don't you move there?" I'm like, "Okay." So without knowing anything, I packed my bags and I moved West Coast.
Wow.
Yeah. And I started a theater company in Powell River.
That's
It's called
cool.
Ravens Call Theater.
Ravenscall
Yeah.
Theater.
Yeah, I lived there for 6 years.
6 years. Wow.
Yeah. And then I decided to go back to school.
Yeah.
And that's how I ended up.
There's a campus in Powell River, right?
Yeah, that's where
That's
I
where
started.
you started?
Yeah.
Okay, and then you moved.
And it was also interesting because one of the guys, I was working at A&W as a supervisor
Yeah.
to make extra money because acting doesn't pay, right?
Yeah.
So one of the guy I met was a sociology student, Mike from VIU. And one day he says, I know you have done a lot of acting. Do you know anything about Rocky Horror Picture Show? I said, yeah. When I was in the 80s, we used to do Rocky Horror midnight showing all the time. And I was a bouncer for like 2 years. I bounced for that show.
Oh, wow.
And they were like, oh, can you come and just talk to my class about this? So I went in, and he had given me an hour and a half. We ended up talking for 3 hours,
Wow.
And then that was his idea, was to take and show him this microculture.
Yeah.
So we went to, that was just before Halloween. So we took them to the midnight showing of Rocky Horror Picture Show in Patricia Theater in Powell River. And people were dancing. There was a stage in front. And, so they experienced all that. Then the next class I went in and we talked about it another 3 hours. and I was like, you know what? I'm tired of flipping burgers.
Yeah.
It's a great, best bosses, decent money.
Yeah.
I can live. But, I want to go back to school. So I started the school this semester.
That's when you started doing psychology?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Nice.
Psychology I always knew that would be the next step for me.
What drove you into picking psychology as?
Well, it's just, as an actor, you're always learning about how to be in somebody else's shoes and how to build relationships.
Yeah.
Because on the stage, you have to build relationship really fast.
Yeah.
So you are a part-time psychologist anyways.
You're already doing the psychology, learning how to be somebody else, think like somebody else.
That's right.
Nice.
So that's why, yeah.
So you've gone through all of these things, and you had refugee status here in Canada.
Yeah.
You had it in the States,
Yeah.
but they kicked you out, and that was all after basically escaping from Pakistan.
Right.
How do you feel about? We're going to go into the American politics here for a second. How do you feel about Trump's newest policy in the terms of the Muslim ban?
Okay. Yeah, well, don't even let's not even talk about Muslim ban.
Yeah.
Just talk about Trump and being in power. I mean,
Yeah, it's already really ridiculous at that
yeah,
point.
it's like, it's totally unbelievable. I can see why he got elected.
Hmm.
You know, it's because people in Ohio and Pennsylvania that I lived with for so long, once the coal mine closed, they didn't move on. Most of the
Yeah.
people will move on. They sat on their porches and drank beer and complain about the factory closing. You know,
I'm just
for-
waiting for work to show up for them
Show
instead
up
of
for
going
them.
for it.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. You know, but like Pittsburgh itself used to be the big steel city.
Hmm.
Every building was black. But once they start losing those jobs, Pittsburgh transitions towards technology. Clean all the buildings. All the buildings are beautiful. It's a beautiful town, and it's one of the biggest hub for electronics and computer stuff now.
Oh, that's really cool.
software. Yeah. So that transition, but all the small towns like Beaver Falls, which is only like a stone throw away,
Yeah.
they're still stuck in, oh, my job got lost 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do. I don't want to sell my house and move.
Yeah. I
You
hate
know?
my life because I didn't
Yeah.
decide to move earlier, kind of thing.
And so they don't blame economy.
Hmm.
They don't understand the point why the jobs are going to another country, because
Yeah.
they also want to make $18 an hour, $20 an hour, where in China the kids are making, $1 an
$1
hour.
a day, even.
Yeah. So that's why we lost the jobs.
Yeah.
And that's what they don't want to understand. They don't want to pay taxes,
Nope. Don't want to pay
Yeah.
taxes. Want to get high pay, and
high pay. So like how, there's no logic there.
no, there really
And
isn't.
those are the people, uneducated people who elected Trump in the White House.
Yeah. Trump was all going to create jobs,
Yeah.
etc.
And that's another thing. Like,
Going to build America up again. You're all going to be working and strong, and
this is the guy who took the job away from you in the first place.
yeah, he's
That's
the
what
one
they didn't
selling
see.
those companies across.
Yeah. That's what they didn't see. They didn't see that the economy is bad because of rich people like Trump.
Yeah.
But just because he was rich, they were like, if he made money, he can make me make money.
I think
that-
that was definitely part of it. I
Yeah.
think there was also just the difference between the two candidates,
Yeah.
where Hillary became this huge villain in most people's eyes. Just I think because
And
she's a
undeserving.
Clinton.
Yeah, but undeserving. And that's another thing you have to look at. Like Hillary, I met Hillary about 20 times.
Really?
Yeah, because when I moved out of Pennsylvania, I moved to New York.
Mm-hmm.
I lived in Naples, New York, which is right below Rochester.
Okay.
And my landlady, who's like actually my sister, Joan, she ran the Democratic office out of Kennedy.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, so every time because she was our senator for so long.
Yeah,
So every time she came in Rochester, I get to meet her. So
that's cool.
yeah, and that's the thing. People, the only big knock against Hillary was the email scandal
Yeah.
and Benghazi.
Hmm.
If you look at Trump and his minions, they have already broken both of those.
Like all of the scandals with Trump,
Yeah.
the Trump
I mean,
administration.
All the rape allegations, all the failed universities,
Yeah.
and casinos, and all the bankruptcy. They didn't see any of that, but they saw just one thing, actually two things,
Yeah.
and made her a villain. I think it's more also because she was a woman.
I think that might have been a part of it, but I think it was more just because Trump went with, "I'll make you money, and we'll keep all the bad people away, so you're safe." Everybody's like, "Sweet, I'm gonna have money, and I'm gonna feel safe."
Right.
And I think that alone was a big thing for a lot of people, because feeling safe is something that a lot of people don't get to feel, especially in today's society, where you go outside and all you hear is, "There's bombings here, there's shootings here, blah blah blah. We're all gonna die," basically. So they just being told, "You're gonna be safe, and I'm gonna get you money,"
Right.
I think was the biggest draw towards him.
But that's what another thing about America I don't understand, and American people I don't. How many big wars America has seen in America? Like talking about mid-America, Ohio, Pennsylvania. Like hardly anything has happened there. And they've made such a big deal out of it. And then there's people in Syria
Yeah.
who are getting Syrian gas, who
Yeah.
are getting,
Bombed
So-
daily.
Yeah, and those are the people who you want to keep out.
Yeah.
I
It
don't
doesn't-
understand that.
Doesn't make sense at all.
Yeah,
These people need help. Like,
Yeah.
you should be helping these people, not shunning them and sending them away.
and you know what? Another point I have to make.
Hmm.
I'm a big supporter of our prime minister.
Me too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I know people say you have to understand politics. You have to give something to do something.
Yeah.
People don't want to give up anything, but they want to achieve everything.
Yeah.
And that's not how politics work. You have to, what is that? You have to rob Peter to pay Paul.
I think so. Yeah. I think that's
Yeah.
the term.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been on and off with our Prime Minister Trudeau, but I do really like him. I voted for him actually.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, and I think he's doing well.
He's
I
doing
mean-
better than most of the other people, like south of the border.
Yeah. It's not hard though.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, and then Trump, going back to the question you asked, what was the question?
What your thoughts are on the current refugee status?
Oh, the Muslim. Well, it is a Muslim ban.
Yeah,
Right.
it
I
is.
mean, you can disguise it however way you want it.
Yeah,
But the problem is the people, the terrorists that came from Saudi Arabia, and then Saudi Arabia is not on the list.
that's because they have oil.
Well,
A
yeah,
lot of it.
yeah. So many people come from Pakistan. Like Pakistan is a breeding ground for terrorism,
Yeah,
and they're not on the list. So it's like, how come these people are not on the list
Yeah.
and these countries are? So yeah, that didn't make sense to me from the first day, and that's why it keeps on. The courts keep on stopping it.
yeah. So it still hasn't gone through.
No, it's still stopped.
I haven't been keeping up.
Yeah, see, I have.
Good.
I have no choice.
Yeah, you're like I just need to know if I can go back to America. Are you able to go and visit America
No,
now?
I'm still not.
You're banned?
Yeah, I have to apply. And
Okay.
if Clinton would have won, I would have been given a pardon.
Oh.
But because Trump won, there's no way I'm
Yeah,
going
there's
back.
no way.
Yeah.
I mean, I won't even go there. Well, he's in
Yeah,
office.
I want to really go and just I'm really comfortable in Canada.
Yeah.
And I don't want to move anywhere. Stay in the West Coast. I'm a West Coast guy, 100%.
Oh, I agree.
But I want to go back to America just to visit my friends who were like my family for
Yeah.
so many years, So that's what I miss most than anything. I miss the birth of their kids. I miss their weddings.
Yeah.
Those are the things, even going to the funerals because, we're getting to I'm 52.
Yeah.
We're getting to the age where, some do pass away here and there.
Yeah.
And I want to go and visit when that happens and give my friends a hug who are crying over it.
Yeah. And go and kind of
Yeah,
at least
grieve together.
Grieve together, visit your friends. Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So hopefully you can do that in the near future.
Yeah.
Be
I
able
hope
to.
so.
Have you seen that there's been a lot of refugees actually coming to Canada from the
Right.
States recently?
Yeah. Actually, a lot of my friends want me to sponsor them.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, you've done, you were working with, what is it called, WUSC?
Yeah. Actually, I'm not as involved this
Not
year.
involved this year?
But I'm still working, and we have a fundraiser coming in next Thursday.
Yeah. Can you
It's called
explain what WUSC is?
WUSC is it's World University Services of Canada,
Mm-hmm.
and it actually started in 1923. And
1923?
1923.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and it started at the beginning as a support to countries like Germany, countries like European countries which have just gone through World War One.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Right, and there was a lot of people so it was trying to help them with education.
Yeah.
And that's the whole mandate for WUSC. WUSC survives educational opportunity, infrastructure help to poor countries,
Mm-hmm.
and it sponsors students because it's run by World University Services of Canada. So it's run by students. So we try to support some students from refugee camps to come to Canada and study.
That's cool.
So, and Vancouver Island University chapter started in about 7 years ago now,
Yeah.
about 8 years ago now, sorry. And the whole mandate was we want to bring at least one student.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've brought a lot of students in, haven't you?
Yeah, we are up to 15 now.
Wow.
Yeah. So the first year we just sponsor one student because we were just starting, the money was not there.
Yeah.
And so what we do is we sponsor one student, from one of the refugee camps, and they go through rigorous academic checking.
Yeah.
So they have to know how to speak English, they know how to read English, and they have to be in top of their class to qualify to come here.
Oh, wow. So they already have to have an education.
Yeah, exactly. So they're in high school, right? So when people say, "Oh, we are not just bringing any refugee,"
Yeah.
they have to qualify. And 2 years ago, we brought in a girl from the Dadaab refugee camp in Nigeria.
Oh, okay.
She was born in a refugee camp.
Oh, wow.
She lived there for 18 years,
Wow.
right? So, we are not talking about people who are going to the refugee camp today.
Yeah.
We're talking about people who have lived there.
People that have lived there.
That's the only life they know.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. So we brought. So we bring the kids here. We sponsored them to become permanent residents,
Yeah.
and we provide them for schooling and all the expenses for the first.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And we hope after the first year they can apply for scholarships and and continue education.
Yeah.
And they have. We had Noor graduated last year, who was and he's already working for CRA.
Wow.
Yeah.
Doing well.
Yeah, he's doing well. And that's what I'm saying. These kids are very smart.
Yeah, they're like top of their class to get here. So
Yeah, and they have a drive because
Yeah.
they have been stuck in a refugee camp.
they've seen some of the worst. So
Yeah. So last year we sponsored 3 students because of the Syrian refugee crisis.
yeah.
We got a lot more donation than we normally do.
Oh, that makes sense.
So we could afford to bring a 3rd student.
Yeah.
And we brought a 3rd student from a Syrian refugee who has been in the refugee camp for 2 years.
Wow.
His name is, I shouldn't share that information actually.
We'll leave that out for now.
Yeah. So, and then this year, next week on Thursday is our biggest fundraiser. Is called Harambe. And it's a celebration of, achievement and a commitment towards continue growing
Nice.
in that direction. Yeah. So we are doing a fundraiser next week. So 15 students we have brought up till now. 8 of them were males and 7 were females. So we are
pretty balanced. That's good.
very balanced. Yeah.
I like that.
13 and 4. Yeah, that's it. 7 and 8. Yeah.
It's really cool. That's that's an awesome thing that you guys are doing. I like that.
Yeah, but it's really hard. It's very
no
hard
doubt.
because the students run the organization. They keep on moving on, and then the new students come and they have to relearn the whole.
They have to try and figure it out. And
Yeah.
that's hard. You almost need like a faculty to overlook it kind of thing.
Well, this year we did get finally. Last year actually we got some help from the international. So Daryl has been helping us from the international. So hopefully he can continue, and that way, because I will be moving on soon.
Yeah.
I cannot do that.
You can't be training kids now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I'll be gone soon enough. So yeah, but that's an amazing organization, and I really, and it's all over Canada. So it's over. I think it's almost over 100 campuses now.
That's a lot.
Yeah. So we are bringing about close to 1,500 students
Just into Canada.
into Canada.
All over. Wow.
Yeah.
That's great. That's amazing. The
Yeah.
1,500 students every year get to come to Canada and learn
Right.
because of this company, Whisk. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And then they become Canadian. They get
Yeah.
their degree and they contribute to the society.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
There's actually a Syrian family that lives right behind my parents' house, and in Syria, the dad was a farmer. They lived on a farm, so he has turned the house that he lives in, the whole backyard, and the neighbor's whole backyard into a farm.
Nice.
So it's really cool.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, he's kind of got farming going on. Just provides for both houses and everything, and it's really cool.
Yeah. No, last year people like Caroline, people
Yeah.
like William from VIU.
Yeah.
They all are in organizations which are bringing in refugees.
Yeah, actually, Caroline was telling me about that.
Yeah.
She a house for them last year,
Right.
around the time that there was the big influx of Syrian refugees.
Right. Yeah. And they're also running into the problem of trying to find. You want to bring a family, but you can only sponsor them for so long.
Yeah.
So you have to make sure that
You can get them
you're not,
self-sustainable. Basically.
Yeah, you're not setting them up to fail.
Yeah.
So you cannot. Some of them have 4 or 5 kids. So a rental here in Nanaimo is like $2,200 for that big of a family.
Yeah.
And there's not that many jobs.
No.
So you have to be careful of how you're setting them up, and that's
Yeah.
what takes the longest.
That makes sense.
Yeah, because the government, these families are supported by churches, so they're not getting anything from the government.
Oh, they're just supported by churches?
By churches or by community organizations who are.
Oh, wow.
So they do the same thing like WOSC. They support
Yeah.
them for 1 year and hope that they can stand on their feet.
hopefully
and
they
get
can
jobs.
continue on after that. That's
So,
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, the house that they live in, the refugee family behind my parents' house, the owner of the house basically just moved into the basement and just gave them the house.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah, and that's
he
what
didn't have any money to give, so he's like, you can have my house.
Yeah, and we see that a lot actually.
Yeah?
Like there's 2 kind of people.
Yeah.
People who are against refugees and people who are willing to give the shirt off their.
Yeah, I feel it. 2 sides of the pole there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we are getting close to the ending time. Before we do that, I have a really fun thing.
Okay.
So I don't know if you've listened to our podcast at all.
No, I haven't had an opportunity.
That's okay. Recently, we've started doing something fun. Our segment that's called What Tickles Your Fancy.
Okay.
So the concept of this is it's something like the little things in life or that kind of make you happy, that make your day, or something that inspires you. So my What Tickles Your Fancy for today is sitting in the sun with an ice cold cider. Those perfect summer days where you're just sitting in a lawn chair or sitting at the river, the cider in your hand. Great day, fun times. So on that note, I know it's really on the spot. I should have let you know beforehand.
No, that's fine.
But, what tickles your fancy?
Well, right now with all the papers and all the assignments and all the things, I would say tickling my fancy will be sitting around a campfire with friends and having a beer.
Nice. I like that. That's a good one. Yeah, I did that the other day. I went to the beach in Cedar, just got picked up and went out there.
Nice.
Beautiful night, nice fire. It's such a great feeling to be back on the island.
It is. Yeah. I bet it is. Yeah.
It's been too cold in Kamloops.
Yeah. So, cool.
Well, thank you, Im. Thank you for
Thanks a
being
lot.
here.
Yeah.
Thank you for telling us your story and sharing it for
of
everyone.
course, man. Yeah.
It's actually an amazing story. It's really inspiring.
Thanks. Yeah.
It's cool. All right. Thank you, everyone. We do not have an Artist of the Week this week, I believe. You can find us at rootsoflifepodcast.com. If you'd like to ask Im any questions, you can send it to us at rootsoflifepodcast@gmail.com. And we can send those questions on to Im, get some answers for you, or connect you in any way. If you want to help donate to WUSC, you can send us a message and I can talk to Im for you. And if you would like to be an Artist of the Week, send us a message on any of our social media handles. Twitter is at rootsoflifepod, Instagram at rootsoflifepodcast, or you can send us an email. Thanks for being here, everybody. Stay weird.